Hey everybody, Rob Veno here, WagerTalk.com, WagerTalk TV with your Monday free selections with analysis. We're going to go to the NBA playoffs. Look at both games tonight, Boston at New York. Also take a look at Minnesota and Golden State. But let's get right to the Celtics and the Knicks. The series got a little bit more interesting on Saturday as Boston took that victory, now 2-1 Knicks in the series. This game opened Boston 6-209. Now we're looking at Boston minus 6.5, 208.5. So a little bit of movement toward the Celtics on the side and the under where the total is concerned. Let's take a look at the matchup so far, this series so far. Boston finally got it right on each end of the three-point game Saturday afternoon. They shot 20 of 40, made 50% of their threes. That was good on the offensive end. They had been obviously subpar shooting threes up until that point. And their number 2 ranked three-point defense came through against New York and held them to 5 of 20, 25%. Previously, the Knicks had shot 42.5 and 43% in games 1 and 2 in this series against that Boston defense. We know that that's arguably one of the best perimeter picket fences in the NBA. Drew Holiday, Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Jason Tatum, all those guys defended well. They did so on Saturday. That was the biggest reason why. The three-point game overall was the biggest reason why Boston won that game. Let's take a look at the Knicks offense. You know, the narrative here up until game 3 had been Boston's terrible three-point shooting, rightfully so. They had been bad, but the Knicks offense has not been good either. In 12 quarters in this series, the Knicks have been held to 25 or less 9 times. That's 75% of the time the Knicks don't finish a quarter with more than 25 points in this series. That's getting a little bit concerning for New York. Basically, it's been a couple of miraculous second half comebacks to eke out victories when Boston shot miserably from beyond the arc. How many of those can you pull out of the hat? I'm not so sure. New York even shot 18 more free throws than Boston on Saturday. They won the free throw attempt battle 35-17, but poor free throw shooting only turned that into a +9 on the scoreboard. So again, New York failing offensively in a lot of situations here. One more interesting note about Saturday was Boston had not gotten out on the fast break very much in this series, and they did on Saturday. They had 11 opportunities. They turned it into 18 points. That was 10 more than the Knicks. And Boston didn't really do it by stealing the basketball or getting turnovers. They did it off the defensive boards and just getting out and running. If that continues, that could be helpful to Boston. All that being said, Boston's fourth quarters continue to be miserable. They haven't scored 20 points in the fourth quarter yet. They only scored 19 Saturday. I understand they're up by 26 heading into the fourth, but still, anything close in the fourth quarter, you have to take a look at the Knicks side because Boston just has not been there in the final 12 minutes of this series. Let's take a final look at this one, come to a conclusion with a play here. Celtics now 35-9 on the road. Remember last year, Jason Tatum made a big deal out of telling everybody that they were going to hold home court last year because they hadn't done so the year before, and they did. I think they went like only had 2 losses on their home floor regular season last year. This year, it's been back to being a good road team, 35-9, only 30-16 on the road. And they did remind everybody Saturday that they can light up the scoreboard against this particular team. Against the Knicks, last 11 games, Boston's got 108 plus in in 9 of the 11, and they've gotten 114 plus in 7 of those. Peyton Pritchard stepped forward Saturday. It just goes to show you that it doesn't have to be one of the biggest stars on Boston to drill threes. You know, there's always one game where Al Horford seemingly steps up and nails threes randomly. Could be tonight. Who knows? The Celtics restored their pride a little bit in game 3. This is a sense of urgency game for both teams. Boston needs it to be 2-2. The Knicks need it to be 3-1. So you're going to get maximum effort from both sides. Don't have a real strong opinion on side in this game, but I think the way I'm going to lean here, and this will be your free play for today, is going to be with the under 208.5. Neither offense has been good consistently in this series. The defenses have been better. The tempo has been slowish, which it should be. They're 2 of the slower tempo teams in the league. Number was 209 down to 208.5. We're going to play it under here. So that'll be your free play for today in this game, a desperation game where defense should show up. Going to play it under 208.5. Let's take a look real quick here at the deal being offered this week by WagerTalk.com. It's a 7-11 flex deal. Buy a 7-day flex picks package. Get 4 days for free. The 7-day flex pass is $99. You're going to get the next 4 days for free. It's going to amount to $108 worth of savings for you here. Flex passes, for those who don't know how that works, you could choose me as your flex handicapper. You can take a day off if you want and use that day some other time. You can change handicappers throughout the duration of your all-access flex pass. So once again, you'll get every sport, every play. It's not limited to certain sport, not limited to certain plays. You'll get everything, including 5% blue chips if you choose myself. It's a 7-day flex deal. You get pay for 7-day access package, get 11 overall. That's 4 for free. Save $108. Go to WagerTalk.com or go to my homepage, wt.buzz/RV. Let's get into Minnesota at Golden State here. Matchup and series thus far. Let's take a look. It's predictably developing into a problematic matchup for Golden State. Obviously, without Steph Curry, everybody knew that was going to happen. Question was, could Golden State pull it off or not? Their best asset without Curry on the floor is their defense. And got to say, at home in Game 3 Saturday night, they played to their blueprint brilliantly. They played great defense. They slowed down the pace. They did everything near perfectly, and they still lost. And to cap it off, even though they covered, they came very close to not even covering the point spread. I mean, it took a buzzer-beating, semi-fall away, contested three by Jonathan Kuminga out of the corner to get that cover by half a point. And it also took a fourth quarter lane violation by Julius Randle on a made free throw by Rudy Gobert, which would have added a point to Minnesota's total. So, Golden State could have easily lost this thing by 8 or 9 and not covered. And they played, like I say, almost a near perfect game, the way they want to play it right now, which is defense and slow pace. Timberwolves are every bit as good defensively as Golden State is. They have more height, obviously. They have more offensive weaponry, obviously. And they have the best player on the floor in Anthony Edwards. Jimmy Butler scored 33 for Golden State Saturday. Great game out of Jimmy Butler, but it wasn't enough. It was enough to cover the 5.5 barely, but it wasn't enough to win the game for Golden State. The Warriors are doing everything they're trying to accomplish really, really well. There's no glaring statistical margins between these sides. It's kind of an even series when you go through the statistical categories. So, again, down 2-1, doing what they think is the right thing to do, hasn't gotten them anywhere to this point. Now down 2-1. It's going to be a desperation game tonight for Golden State. You have to figure they bring maximum energy, maximum focus. But Minnesota, you read a couple of player quotes, they're also going to be fully motivated for this one. They understand that going up 3-1 in this series before Steph Curry has a chance to return to the Golden State lineup is huge. They really don't want to go back to Minnesota tied up at 2-2 with the chance that Curry might be able to play the last 2-3 games. So interestingly, it'll be a hugely motivational type game for both sides. I want to believe that Golden State will run a little bit more in this contest to try and avoid Minnesota's set-up half-court defense, which is extremely tough, to try to score a few more points, which are going to be necessary in all likelihood for Golden State, which hasn't reached 100 yet in this series. Getting out on the break could help them score some easy points. Just not so sure that they'll do it. And even if they do, if they use a transition style, a couple of problems could arise from that. If the game gets quicker, I believe Minnesota benefits just as much, if not more. Remember, head coach Chris Finch, after Game 1, said his Timberwolves should be using the transition game more in this series. So that could benefit the Timberwolves if the game gets quicker. And also, if it gets quicker, it's exhausting for the Warriors to go through another 48 minutes of anchoring down on defense against this Minnesota team. You have to worry about Draymond Green and the technical foul situation. Just don't know if Golden State can hang on. They may wear out. And I think it's a little bit indicative that they could wear out by staring at the 33-point fourth quarter Minnesota put up on Saturday. So Golden State wore out a little bit there. I think the best choice in this game is to play the Minnesota team total over a very reasonable 102.5. And they only shot 43.9% in game 3 and still got to 102. You're asking for one more point in this game. I think that's very likely. So your free play for this game is going to be the Minnesota team total, up and over 102.5. On the way out, I'd like to ask everybody to hit the like button if you like the selections and analysis provided for free here on WagerTalk TV each and every day by WagerTalk handicappers. Click like, click subscribe, join the 202,000 people who have already joined WagerTalk TV. Also, if you have a comment on this game or the previously mentioned Boston-New York game, please drop it in the comment section. I try to get to them as quickly as I can. For now, this is Rob Veno saying good luck with all your plays. We'll see you next time on WagerTalk TV.